Gaslighting. What is it and what is it used for? Well, gaslighting is another tactic of the narcissist. It's almost like a blame shifting technique where if you bring something to their attention, they're just gonna make it. It's almost like they're turning the tables back on you. They're like, oh no, like if you address something to them, they'll be like, oh no, you must be imagining that, or no, that didn't really happen that way, or just completely just say it didn't happen at all, almost like you're making it up, or it's all in your head and you're just not interpreting a situation correctly and putting it back onto you, even though, well, I don't want to say they know they did something wrong. They will not admit they did anything wrong. They never take accountability for anything, and so therefore they have to shift the focus back onto it must be some issue with you. And it's almost, I would say it's a form of mental torture, because if you're a victim of something and you're either confiding with the narcissist or confiding with someone else, and they act as if this did not happen to you, and no, that's not possible, there's no way that could have happened, and it makes you feel so much worse. And also, if the person you go to that's gaslighting you thought this person was a friend, which was what happened in my case. I was going to who I thought was a friend, and it turned out that person was a narc, and that person put the other narc into my presence, and then I went back to the so-called friend addressing, like I literally brought up red flags for like a year, like, oh, he did this and he did that, and he just brushed off for a year, brushed off all of these red flags as if it was nothing, thus keeping me around the narc for longer because I trusted this other so-called friend that I thought was a friend but was actually a narc. So they were trying to both bully me. And keep in mind, I did not grow up in a narcissistic home, so apparently this was my crash course into narcissism. This was my introduction. So I was not familiar with how this whole thing worked. I had known another narcissist prior, but he was just working like singularly. So I had been friends with this other guy and had been just like talking to him, not thinking anything of it, because we weren't in a romantic thing. Like, we would just talk as friends, and I was talking to him like day and night. Like, he showed zero indication of anything abnormal for like 4 years, and then out of nowhere he introduced me to this other guy who was a swamp creature, a narcissist. And so I had no idea he was setting me up the whole time, so that when I would go back to him, and it would just be and these two losers would just go and laugh about the whole thing, and like they're sitting there going back and forth comparing the notes and thinking this whole thing is funny, and I'm just like, what the hell? So that's how these lunatics work. They're absolutely, utterly disgusting and crazy. And, so basically he was just completely gaslighting me. He called his friend a teddy bear, and the guy was like an abusive psycho, and he kept going like, oh no, he's a teddy bear, and I didn't know he was in on it at the time. So he was like, because I thought this person was my friend, so I'm going, oh he must be right. Like, I must just be making a big deal out of it. It's probably nothing. And then I would continue keeping the other guy around. Finally, I just came to my senses and got rid of the other guy altogether, blocked him, changed my number. Like, I was just like, donezo. But I still kept the so-called friend around because I was not sure. I still wasn't 100% sure. I'm like, I was thinking he was in on it, but I wasn't 100% sure. So I approached him on it, and I was like, you set me up. You set me up. He's just like, oh, and then he started saying, I'm the narcissist. Classic projection. They project it back to you. They're either going to gaslight you, project it back to you. Well, he did both. He was like gaslighting. He's like, oh. He was saying I was imagining that he set me up. He knew the whole time. He has a bunch. He even told me about other girls that he's like talking to, and those are other victims, but I wasn't paying any attention to it at the time because we're just talking as friends, you know. So I was like, I don't care if he talks to other women, but these are other women that he's setting up to do the same thing to, you know what I'm saying? So he had like a constant rotation of different women that he's got this whole plan, and they're all in on it. You know, it's utterly disgusting. A bunch of men bullying a female. I mean, that's like loser city. So anyway, gaslighting, I would say, is pretty much torture. It makes you feel horrible, and that's the goal. They want you to be confused, doubt yourself. That's basically the whole point of it. They want to keep you in confusion so you'll stay around. You know, your health will start deteriorating more because the stress of it is just going to make you, you know, end up in an insane asylum. But, you know, that's the whole point. That's what they want. That's what they want. So you got to get hip to all their tactics. And as soon as you are, I mean, I was picking up on the red flags, and I just went and did a whole bunch of research and just got the hell out of Dodge. So I just deleted them all, just got rid of them all. You have to get rid of every single person that's friends with any of the narcs. You can't be, they're all in on it. They're all in on it. You cannot be around not one of them. If anyone's friends with this person, anyone, you know, like, what kind of person would hang out with an abusive person to begin with? So you already know they're all a problem. They're all abusive, because someone with morals is not going to stick around an abusive person. They're just not going to do it. They're going to be like, I need to get away from this person. This person is not right. So, that was my introduction into gaslighting, but I would say, it's pretty much mental torture.